Hello friends, welcome back to ProHut IT Services. Good to see you back. In this video, we'll learn the steps to create incidents by using Microsoft Sentinel. So for that, let's go to Microsoft Sentinel first. Click on the Sentinel. Let's hide this one. Now, let's go to the incidents first to see what all incidents that we have. So currently we don't have any incidents out here. There are no open incidents that we can see. Now, to create the incidents, let's go to the analytics, scroll down under configuration, click on analytics. So here, click on create under drop-down menu. And here we can see three options. The first one is the schedule query rule is what we need to select. So click on schedule query rule. We'll talk about the other two options also in the future video. So the rule that we need to create, just give a name out here. So let's say we are creating, ideally the naming convention should be as per the incidents that you're creating. But as we are only creating it for the test purpose, so we'll just name it incident rule A. Okay. You can give the description out here. Then under tactics and techniques, let's go for initial access. We're going to create an incident whenever a user is trying to access but not able to log in because of invalid username or password. So let's create incidents for the same. So that is valid accounts. So now under severity, we need to select whether severity needs to be only informational, low, medium, or high. For this test purpose, we'll go with medium. Now we want this rule to be enabled, so just click on enable, click on next. Out here, what we need to do is we can use the KSQL query to create the rule. So let me copy a query from my laptop. So here we have this query. Let's click on view results on the right hand side. Now we can see the result. Let's remove the username so that we can see the result. So out here, when we modify the query, we can see the result. So now let's click on continue editing alerts out here. Now we can see that this is the query which will be running. Now we can also test that what will be the current result look like. So out here we can see test with the current data. So whatever data that Microsoft Sentinel has, it's gonna use that data to show us the current data result. So let's click on that. So right now we can see that we have so many alerts with the event ID 4625, which means that the user is not able to log in successfully to a virtual machine. All these options we're going to talk in the future video where we're going to do the entity mapping with either the account name or with the IP address. So we're going to talk about that in detail. Now, under the query scheduling, how often do we need to run this rule? So do we need to run this every 5 hours or every 5 minutes or 5 days, or we can change the numbers also? For this test purpose, we'll select 5 minutes. And we are saying that lookup data from the last, let's take it days and modify it to 2. So, sorry, it needs to be 1 hour. It cannot be 5 minutes. So what we need to do is maybe we can change this from 2 to 1 day. So when we change it to 1 day, how the query is going to run? The query will run every 5 minutes to check the event, and it's gonna take the data from the last 1 day. Now, the alert threshold is what we need to define. So we are saying that if the alerts are greater than 1, then execute this, right? So that's the alert threshold. You can change the number as per your environment or as per your requirement. Now, under the event grouping, do we need to group all these events as a group? and make it a single alert, or you want individual alerts to be created. So that totally depends on the requirement. So as of now, I'm saying that, okay, group all these events. Otherwise, it's going to create so many events and we're going to have so much of data. Now, this is important. Suppression is very important out here. Here it's saying that stop running query after alert is generated. So do we really want to do that, or do we want alerts or incidents to be created for every alert which gets generated? So if we say on, which means after one alert trigger, after one incident is created, it's gonna suppress that. Sorry, I have to refresh this. So out here, what is gonna happen? The alert generation will stop running once one alert is generated and the incident is created for the same. If we don't stop this, then it's gonna generate so many incidents and it's gonna create so many alerts. So as per your requirement, you can modify that. Then click on next for incident settings. Here we want this to be enable alert grouping. So as of now, we just disable it. Right? Click on next for the automated response. So right now we don't want any automated response to be created, but yes, you can create the automated response by clicking on add new. And here we need to define the action that needs to be performed. So we're going to create a separate video where we'll see how we can perform the automation and how we can automatically reply to the rules. So click on next for review. It's validating. Click on create. Once it is done, we're gonna see incidents getting created. So what I can do, I can try logging to the virtual machine by using the wrong user ID and password and see that what all incidents are getting created. So I'll pause the video and go and try to log into the VM by using invalid credentials. Okay, friends. So what I have done, I tried to log into virtual machine PM01 by using username TU05 and TU07. Now let's go back to the incidents and see if there are any incidents getting created or not. So what we need to do under Sentinel itself, under threat management, click on incidents. So out here, we can see that we have one incident created. Okay. So as we are in incidents now, and we can see that there is one incident which is created, and this incident is a new incident that is created. And this incident is on the basis of 2.1K events. The reason it has created only one incident, because if you recall, while creating the policy, while creating the rule, we did mention that we just want one incident to be created, and it needs to group all the events into one and create one single incident. And that's the reason we can see that there is just one single incident which is created. So what we can do now is that we can simply create one more rule and see how it works. So before we create a rule, let's go to the logs and check what are logs that we have and for which log we can create the incident. Let me close this, expand log management. Let's create an incident for sign in logs. So let's run that. So here we can see, let me hide this one. So here we can see we have some of the signing logs available. So let's create incident for these signing logs. Now let's go to the Sentinel. Let's close this one. We'll go to the Microsoft Sentinel. Let me hide this. And go to the analytics. click on create and create a schedule query rule. Now this time we are not going to club all these, and we'll name it sign in logs. Here we'll select initial access and we'll select valid accounts. For severity, maybe we'll say keep it low this time. We'll enable this rule, click on next. So here we'll say sign in logs. Let's create only for signing logs. Let's run the query and check what all results we'll be getting. Okay, so we have the sign in logs now. We can also create the logs for a particular result type. So take an example. Here we'll modify the query and say that where results type result type contains, let's say we say 50, and just run that and see what all we can see. So this is what we can see now, as we have 3 records out here, which is showing the result type as it contains the result type 50. So we can modify the query as per our requirement. Let's create something like that. Click on continue editing. So here we can see it shows that. Before we see the simulation, let's modify the query days and the lookup data. So we want this query to check every 5 minutes, and we want it to check for past 1 day. And if the alert threshold is greater than 1, now let's come back here and click on test with the current data. So these are the alerts that we have. So alerts per day are 288. That's what we can see. The threshold is 1. Now this time what we are doing, we are not grouping all this into one single alert. We're gonna say that trigger an alert for each event, which means there will be a different incident created for them. And now we're gonna stop this when we have the first one created, and we want this to be stopped for maybe, let's say we'll say 1 hour. Stop it for 1 hour, and after 1 hour it's gonna create the or generate the alert once again. Click on next for the incident setting. No further changes required. Click on automated response. Will not be configuring automated response at this point of time. Click on next to review, and then we'll create this. Click on create. Now, once the rule is created, we'll go back to the incidents and we'll see that what all incidents it is going to create. So now we can see that the rule is created. Now let's click on incidents. Okay, so we don't see any incident at this point of time. So let me try to log in with some of the user and then see what all we can see. So let's try with the user TU03. I'll just type in any random password, click on sign in. Just try again, try again, try again. Okay, now let's minimize that. And here we can see that we have so many incidents getting created. So let's click one of them and understand the event for which this incident is created. So when we click on this, it will show the query for which this incident is created. Let's expand that. So here we can see that the user TU03 was trying to log into Azure portal and it was not successful. So here we can see all this information, the authentication step time, the authentication method, the authentication in cloud, Succeeded is showing as false because the user was not able to log in successfully and the authentication failed. So all that information, that level of detailed information is what we can see in all these incidents. So here we are even getting the location details. So when we expand that, we can see that the user is trying to log in from Australia. Even we can see the state, we can see the latitude and the longitude. So all that detailed information is what we can see in these incidents. So here we can see the result type as 50126. Let's close this. Let's refresh and see if in case we can see any other incidents. No. So the first incident which gets created, here we can see that this incident created for 2100 alerts. But all these different incidents that we can see are creating for one single event because we did not group all these incidents for different alerts. That's the reason we can see all these individual incidents for individual alerts. So depending on your requirement, you can either group all the events into a single incident or you can create individual incidents for individual events. But make sure that you configure it correctly. Otherwise, you will end up in having so many incidents in Sentinel, and the management of these incidents will be difficult in that case. If you like this video, then please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video with your friends. Bye, friends. Keep smiling. Have fun.